I'm not gonna lie, low-key purr. Low-key iconic. Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. Hello if you're new. So today's video is going to be a review slash kiki slash rant slash psychological analysis of Love is Blind season 4 episodes 9 to 11. I hope everybody is doing as well as can be, and I really do hope everybody is being as proactive as possible in supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. And if you're still on the lookout for some resources, I've linked some in the description. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on my commentary. I'm always up for a chat, I'm always up for a debate. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, give it a dislike, no hard feelings. And if you really like this video, consider subscribing and helping your girl out. So Love is Blind season 4 episodes 9 to 11. Now, the last few batch of episodes were quite boring, to be honest, but the drama is slowly and steady picking up, particularly for one couple. The drama was very real. Got a bit more drama, it's getting a bit more serious, we're getting to the weddings now, and we've had another couple break up. Before we get into it, PSA, please do not comment any spoilers about the outcomes of the marriages. I did have a spoiler comment on my last video. If you want to go out of your way to investigate who got married because you just can't wait for the episodes to come out, that's your business. I don't know why you're involving me in that business. It was only one comment. I can't remember your username, but sincerely, fuck you, bitch. Because why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why couldn't you keep it to yourself? Why couldn't you wait 2 weeks, hun? Why couldn't you wait 2 weeks to discuss it, hun? I don't know if the spoilers going around is 100% true. I'm guessing people can just look up people's marriage licenses. But keep it to yourself. I don't understand how you're really that invested anyway, and then feel the need to share that information to people who most likely don't want to know and want to find out when it comes out on the show. In general, when you're writing spoilers in capital letters and then writing the spoiler right next to it doesn't do the job, because I can still see the sentence. What you're meant to do is put spoiler and then put about 10 spaces so that it's kind of like more, and then you can see the spoiler. That's how you're really meant to do it. So next time you're feeling a bit crazy, at least do it that way. But anyway, rant over. It was only one person, but that person pissed me off, man. But anyway, let's get into the review. So first off, I'm going to talk about how the couples are doing. So first up, we have Zach and Bliss. Bliss meets Zach's family. That seems to go very well. Zach's family seem very friendly. They're very supportive of the process. They got very emotional. It seems like they're really rooting for him to find a wife. And I feel like they do really like Bliss, and they think that Bliss is a good woman for him. Then we see Zach meet Bliss's mum's side of the family. It was her mother, and I think it was her sister as well. And right off the bat, Bliss's mother is talking about, you know, Bliss is such a worthy woman. Like, you need to know Bliss's worth. And I was thinking, period. Let's get into the conversation now that Bliss was the second pick. Let's segue to that conversation, and sure enough, that's what the conversation segued into. I think Bliss was low-key hoping that, you know, her mother was going to give Zach a grilling. Like, obviously she's accepted the situation. I think she still obviously has doubts about it being the second choice, but she did want Zach to get a bit of a grilling. But Zach, you know, explains the situation really well, you know, doubles down that he really does love Bliss and he wants to be with her. And I was hoping he was going to get a bit more pushback from the mother, but she seemed very understanding, very empathetic. She says that she likes Zach, but it becomes very clear that she just wants Bliss to marry. She's ready for grandkids. So I feel like she would be happy with whoever Bliss ends up with. That seems like a decent guy, and that's good enough for her. Then we see Zach meet Bliss's dad, and it's a lot more awkward, it's a lot more cold, and Bliss's dad is not with the bullshit. Zach right off the bat is just doing a lot of talking. It's very clear that when he's nervous, he just talks, and that's his coping mechanism. He talks. You can tell he's very nervous and uncomfortable in that situation, and that's why he was just talking so much. And you know what, yeah, I would be kind of sweating as well, because the atmosphere, it was very cold, very chilly from the father. So obviously right off the bat, Bliss's dad is being very pessimistic. It's very clear he doesn't really support this process, and he kind of just feels like Bliss is just marrying this man because she wants to get married. And then, you know, some family tea comes out, and it seems like he just doesn't approve of people's husbands. Generally, he's very much, you know, the father-in-law that you just will never please. So Bliss and her dad kind of start arguing, and that just makes it a bit more awkward. Zach is just sitting there, and then he ends up being excused to go to the bathroom, you know, when the producers are just like, okay, it's time for, you know, the daughter and dad to have a moment, so could you, you know, go to the bathroom. So when Zach goes to the bathroom, Bliss is pretty much, defending her relationship with Zach. And Bliss's dad is just doubling down that, you're just getting married to get married and you're probably going to end up divorced. And he might not be wrong there, to be honest. He might not be wrong. It was kind of 50-50 of whether she was defending Zach so much because she generally loves him or whether it was just like a daughter and, tough dad conversation. Because her dad was being a bit rude, was being a bit, insulting. So instinctively, I can see why Bliss automatically wanting to defend herself and defend Zach, because it's kind of like, if you're insulting my choice of husband, you are insulting me as well. So I feel like that's why she was trying to justify the relationship so bad in that conversation. And that's pretty much how it ends. I feel like obviously he's on the show, so there is some degree of support. I think he's very much, you can make your own decisions, but I'm going to let you know what I think. I feel like he's definitely that type of person. Now, Bliss being the second choice didn't come up on the conversation. I kind of wanted it to come up because then I wanted like the proper grilling, but we didn't get that. Maybe she was just like, you know what, I'm already on the back burner, let me not add more fuel to the fire. Also during that meeting, we kind of get more of an explicit reason why Zach may have chosen Irina over Bliss, which is this whole him fearing that Bliss's family wouldn't accept him, because he said it a lot, but he never went into detail why. I feel like the speculation was it was because of his upbringing. Obviously, he's a lawyer, he's making a good amount of money, so he's dating people within his tax bracket. But then when he goes to meet their family and they find out about his upbringing, they don't have his approval, the relationship breaks down. To me, it's very clear that Zach has this element of shame about his upbringing, and maybe because of, his experiences with, the family rejecting him because of his upbringing and looking down on him because of his upbringing, that has kind of developed into trauma. So he was just kind of like, let me go with Irina. We have a similar upbringing and I'm not going to get that trauma from meeting, the family and the family not approving of my upbringing. Was that the core reason why he picked Irina? I'm not entirely sure, but I can see it being a factor of why he thought, Irina was the safe bet, the more comfortable option for him. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Do you feel like this was that particular reason was the instrumental reason why he chose Irina over Bliss, or do you think that there were other factors at play? But after all the family meets, I kind of felt like they were on the same trajectory. I don't think Bliss really cares about what her father thinks. Obviously, it's nice to have family approval, but I don't think that is that important to Bliss if she doesn't have 100% approval. I still saw marriage potential. I think, considering what's went on, I think Zach did reasonably well in the family meet. And continuing on the topic of divorce, it's something that Zach and Bliss do talk about because, both of their parents got divorced. They say it affected them and they don't want to go through a divorce. It's kind of like, once they get married, they want it to be a one and done. And I think that's everyone's ideal. And that used to be me. That used to be like, if I get married, I'm not going to do it again, one and done. But, as I've gotten older, I definitely do see the value in divorce. I don't think it needs to be this big deal. Sometimes the relationship doesn't work. Why waste time? Yes, you should be thinking that your marriage is going to be long term. But if it don't work out, it don't work out. Sometimes divorce needs to happen. And I feel like it's better if it's sooner than later. That's just my opinion. Because people are really suffering out here and it's not cute. Then we have Chelsea and Kwame, and the trajectory of their relationship just keeps going downhill. Kwame is continuing to complain and pick at little things. Like, for instance, like he was complaining that Chelsea wasn't a morning person and just makes a big deal out of it, confronts her. And Chelsea's kind of like, what the fuck? Why are you bringing this petty nonsense to me? Why are you making a big deal out of nothing? Then he starts talking about how he feels like he's suffocating. Like, when people start talking about they're suffocating in a relationship, we already know it's the end. Like, they've been together, 2 weeks, and he already feels like he's suffocating. He clearly can't stand this woman. And again, Chelsea is seeing all these red flags, and she just keeps ignoring them. The beginning of the relationship is meant to be the honeymoon phase. He's complaining about this, he's complaining about that all the time. He's, picking out little things. There's nothing to second guess. Like, the man already resents you. It's time to move on. So Kwame does eventually meet Chelsea's mum's side of the family. They're very inviting, they're very welcoming. But Kwame and his mother's lack of approval is lingering in the background. Chelsea confronts him head on and basically like, if you don't get your mother's blessing Will you be able to go through with this marriage? And he's just being very vague about the situation. And then he uses that to tell Chelsea that if they get married, she can't take his name until his mother approves of the marriage. But for me, it was just all very ridiculous because it's very clear that he doesn't care, because we all know Kwame is never going to marry a Ghanaian woman to have this Ghanaian traditional marriage. He was going into the pods to find a white woman. So he already knew he was going to be at odds with his parents wanting him to have a traditional Ghanaian marriage and wanting him to marry a Ghanaian woman. Went into the pods knowing that wasn't going to happen. I can assure you, if he was engaged to Mika, she would not be hearing this bullshit. The parents probably wouldn't approve, but would he be like, you can't take my name until my mother approves? No, he'd be like, you know what? It is what it is, but you're my dream girl, so we're going to get married and my mother's just going to have to deal with it. He wouldn't be coming with this bullshit. And I never understand why, when the relationship clearly isn't working out, why don't you just leave? Like, why are you stringing this girl along? Chelsea's going to hang on for dear life. Just cut it off. Just cut it off and stop wasting both of you guys' time. And I feel like this is definitely the first time where Chelsea was like, hold on, this is some bullshit. And that's when I was kind of hoping that she was going to realize that Kwame is not going to marry her. Kwame does not rate her. If he rated her, he wouldn't be bringing this foolishness to her. Obviously, Chelsea makes it very clear that she's not happy about that. But she doesn't actually put her foot down. She's giving Kwame way too much grace. And for me, it was just very much like, what can this man say for you to be like, yeah, this is some bullshit. Like, let me move on. You clearly don't like me. Like, what would Kwame need to say? Because the disrespect has just been so loud and apparent, and yet she's still trying to make this work. It doesn't make sense to me. Then we see Tiffany and Brett. We see Tiffany meeting Brett's friends. I liked how his friends kept it real about how they felt about the experiment. They were basically like, you went away for a month and then you popped up with a fiance, it's a bit strange, it's a bit weird, But overall, they seem very supportive and welcoming of Tiffany. We also see Tiffany meet Brett's dad in the episodes. He kind of insinuated that in the past, family meets have been a source of nervousness for him because he feels like there have been times where people have judged his family and therefore have judged him because of his family. He's very vague about, the explicits of why people would judge his family. But from what he said, obviously he grew up in poverty. He says he grew up in generational poverty. I'm assuming maybe some of his family members have criminal records. I feel like maybe that's what he was alluding to. And I can see why he may have some anxiety about that, because people do judge and may, judge you based on your family. For me personally, I'm not against dating people with interesting or dysfunctional families, because my own family is quite interesting. But I definitely feel like it's very much circumstantial. How much dysfunction are we talking? Like, am I going to be heavily involved in the dysfunction? Is it just going to be like, a family get together here and there? Those are definitely, deciding factors. I feel like the most important thing is, your partner and the character of your partner. Everything else, we'll have to see and assess. As long as it doesn't affect your relationship with your partner, I feel like, a little dysfunction here and there is fine. But I'm going to hear from you guys. Could you date someone with a dysfunctional family or not? Let me know. But anyway, Tiffany meets Brett's dad and his brother. Right off the bat, Brett's dad is making sex work jokes like, oh, how much did you buy her for? And immediately it's just like, oh, he's one of them type of old men, you know what it is. Now I can see why Brett's family may have been judged, Not the best introduction in my opinion, but Tiffany does take it on the chin. I'm pretty sure she knew what to expect, and I feel like that meeting went very well. We do see some vulnerability from Tiffany. It seems like with everything going on, they're back into the real world. She's working, she's got this new fiance that she's still getting to know, she's planning this wedding, and then she's also on TV as well. It seems like she's getting burnt out. She's getting a bit overwhelmed. She was trying to keep it together, but, all the emotions are hitting her. And I can definitely understand that. You're planning a wedding alone. For me personally, I would be happy with a small, intimate courthouse wedding, like even if it was just me and my partner, just so I'm not dealing with the logistics and the stress of a wedding. If my partner wanted to have a big ass wedding, they need to have the budget for the wedding planner, because I'm not doing none of that shit. Definitely understand why Tiffany is feeling a bit overwhelmed. She also insinuates that, explaining the whole thing to her family has been very stressful as well. Maybe they don't really understand it. Maybe they don't completely support it. We didn't actually see a family meet with Tiffany in the last episode. We only saw Brett meeting her friends, so maybe there's a bit of tension there with the family that is stressing her out. But Brett does a brilliant job in, trying to relieve some of that stress, taking her out on a really thoughtful date. He's such a good partner. I really love this for Tiffany. Obviously, in some of the trailers, they're making it look like there could be problems in their relationships before the wedding, but I'm still pretty much 100% sure that they are going to marry. Any problem that comes up is going to be easily resolvable. And then we have Mika and Paul. Again, the smiles are on, the giggles are on. Is the chemistry there? No. Again, the relationship just seems very stagnant, and it seems like, the whole lifestyle thing is clashing. In the last episode, it seemed like Mika was okay moving into Paul's shack, but it seems like they've probably still been talking about it, and Mika's, been trying to convince him to move to Arizona or get a bigger apartment. But it's very clear that Paul is very resistant to that. He wants to stay in his small apartment when Mika is saying, how's my stuff gonna fit in here? He's basically saying, just bring your essentials. And Mika's kind of just like laughing it off and being chill about it. But I know in her head she's thinking, what the fuck? Mika is definitely a walk-in wardrobe girly. I definitely feel like when she thought about getting married, she'd be getting married to somebody who could provide that for her, that walk-in wardrobe life. And Paul's just not going to be able to give that to her. I feel like even if Paul had the money to, he's just so stingy and frugal that he wouldn't do that. Paul doesn't really want to compromise, and he just doesn't seem very romantic in my opinion. I feel like if he doesn't change his ways, or he doesn't find somebody who is exactly like him, which I feel like he is not attracted to, he's not going to be able to find a partner. This whole, I want to live in a small apartment, I want to be stingy as fuck, it's not a good foundation for a relationship. Yeah, I feel like Mika is trying to compromise, but Paul is just being very stubborn. So the fact that Mika is trying to compromise for a guy that's not even her dream guy, it's already setting up the relationship for failure. I don't know, I feel like these past episodes, Mika was just trying to fool herself that she could make it work with Paul, but it just was never going to work. And I feel like these episodes pretty much solidified to me that they probably are not going to marry. And I don't think they should marry, they're clearly not compatible. Then we move on to the wedding attire shopping. And right off the bat, there is a bride missing from the wedding dress shopping. And who is that bride in question? It's Jackie. How predictable. Things with Marshall and Jackie clearly have not been working out. At the beginning of the episode, we basically saw Marshall trying to communicate with Jackie about the problems in their relationship, and Jackie was being very avoidant. So Tiffany texts Brett, who's at the suit shopping with all the other grooms, including Marshall, and spills the tea that Jackie didn't show up. And then Brett tells Marshall that Jackie didn't show up. And you could just see Marshall's face drop, because he's here shopping for a suit for his wedding. Marshall was pretty much 95% out of this relationship, and he was holding on to 5% hope. But once he heard this, it was very much like the disrespect. It was very much like he had got his answer. Like, this is now the remaining 5%. So yeah, his face dropped. Like, this is the ultimate disrespect. We're engaged, and you are the only bride that didn't turn up to the dress shopping. You knew this information was going to get back to me, and you didn't even bother to give me the heads up. So I'm not coming to shop for a suit looking stupid. And obviously his friends are there at the suit shop with him hearing this, and they're basically like, yeah, it's time to dead the relationship. Like, it's done. And I feel like Marshall was definitely done at that point. Jackie has just been treating him so badly. Like, this is the ultimate disrespect. And he's basically like, he's done talking now. Like, if Jackie wants to communicate with him, he'll hear her out, but he's done, taking the initiative and trying to reach out to her and trying to resolve things. Like, he's completely done. So obviously Jackie is not at the wedding dress shop. But where is she? This bitch is meeting up with none other than Josh. The audacity. The audacity. It's the audacity for me. On the day where you're meant to be going wedding shopping for your wedding with Marshall, you have now decided to get lunch with the guy that was insulting him. I'm just thinking, so you found him being loud, belligerent, and drunk, and that hot alcohol breath attractive. You had that hot breath in your face and you found that attractive. This is not even each to your own. Are you not embarrassed, Jackie? Are you not embarrassed? And it's just the timing of it all. I just kind of thinking, like, is this the producers doing and Jackie just went along with it? Because the timing is just ridiculous. The only thing I can offer for Jackie is thoughts and prayers at this point. So yeah, Jackie and Josh meet up. Josh declares his love for her. She says that Marshall was too sensitive for her and she regrets not picking Josh. And I was just like, each to their own. You really prefer Josh to Marshall. Like, fair enough if Marshall wasn't your type, but you know, if you really wanted like a toxic man, like at least get someone who's not embarrassing. Like, at least get like someone where it's like, okay, it's a toxic relationship, but I understand. But it's just kind of like a toxic relationship with Josh. The embarrassment of a man, like, your taste is truly something, Jack. Jackie says she's attracted to him and basically they want to be together now. Now, Josh pipes up and is like, okay, so let's get married then. And Jackie is kind of like, well, hold up. Actually, I don't really want to get married. Like the idea of marriage just never really did it for me. So, bitch, why did you come on this show? Why did you come on this show and waste poor Marshall's time? Why would you do that? And it's just like, bitch, you fooled me thinking that you really wanted to find a good husband. Like, why didn't you just say yes to Josh then if you were on this toxic shit? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know whether this was a calculated move by Jackie or whether she is just a very truly turbulent person and she fooled herself into thinking, you know, a good husband is what she really wanted, but then very quickly reverted back to her old ways. I mean, baseline, anyone going on a reality TV show is looking for some type of clout. That is just baseline. But to come on this show and make yourself look so bad, I cannot comprehend. You could have at least done the whole, I'm broken, I'm traumatized, I'm not ready for love, Marshall, I really appreciate you, but I can't give you what you want. You could have at least done that and then at least got some sympathy. But this storyline that you're writing for yourself is horrible, honey. I cannot defend you on this one. I'm just truly embarrassed for you. So get this, Jackie doesn't want marriage, but she also doesn't want to be Josh's girlfriend because she's talking about, yeah, we'll just go with the flow and see what happens. So she doesn't even want to be Josh's girlfriend. She's just out here for vibes. The embarrassment. And I'm pretty sure Josh is happy to just go along with vibes as well. Like, I feel like he was just saying, let's get married for decoration, because the way that he acts does not make me convinced that he is ready for marriage. So yeah, Jackie and Josh, very much a joke. I doubt they will last. Jackie, I'm disappointed. Also at the wedding shopping, we do see Tiffany's family. We see her mother, and her mother was cracking me up talking about, oh, look, your first wedding dress. Not your first wedding dress. Not your first wedding dress, mama. I do think Tiffany and Brett will be married long term, but you know, the way things are going in this world, you know, people, you know, are not resting in unhappy marriages, you know. So maybe it could be her first wedding dress. You never really know with marriages. But that was funny. And then also when she started talking about how, oh, she was losing hope. She didn't think this day would come. Tiffany's mum is funny. Also, Kwame, when he's shopping for his suit, he's just complaining the whole time. Like, he's just a Debbie Downer. Like, it's just so embarrassing. I know Chelsea's just going to feel so embarrassed watching this back and seeing how miserable Kwame was. Like, that's how much that he doesn't want to marry Chelsea. Complaining about how much he's compromising so much. And he's talking about, oh, but what is Chelsea compromising? What is she doing? She's not giving up anything. Whenever a man starts talking about what you as a woman are doing in a relationship, just cut it off. Cut it off. What happened to happy wife, happy life? Absolutely not. I'm not here for the bad vibes. He's complaining when he's buying a suit. This is when you're meant to be happy. You're meant to be thinking about positive things. You're meant to be excited about the wedding. Like, why are you complaining? Like, Kwame has been so transparent about his feelings for Chelsea. I'm still unsure how she didn't see that. I have barely seen Kwame talk positively about Chelsea unprompted. Only time he's ever talked about Chelsea unprompted is when he was comparing her to Mika and how Mika would be his dream girl if she had Chelsea's personality. Like, I know this is going to be a very horrible viewing process for Chelsea when she watches this season back. But yeah, PSA, if your potential husband is complaining when he's buying a wedding suit, call the wedding off. But anyway, after the whole wedding shopping, we do see Jackie and Marshall having a talk about the foolishness that is going down. Jackie breaks up with Marshall. She gives him bullshit reasons. The whole, we're just not compatible. I thought I could love you, but I can't. I can't love you. I really tried, but I can't. Marshall's not really here for the bullshit reasons. And he's basically just like, yeah, the reasons that you're giving are absolute bullshit. And then Jackie decides to come out with that she's basically dating Joss now. So obviously Marshall is hearing this and thinking, hell no. So is that where you were at when you were meant to be wedding dress shopping? You were out with Josh. So he's clocked right away that Jackie is leaving him for another man. I'm pretty sure now in his head he's probably thinking, so have they been having an affair behind my back? Obviously when Jackie and Josh did meet up at the end, they did have a little kiss. So I guess that was technically Jackie cheating on Marshall. But anyway, Marshall was pissed, rightfully so. I mean, the behaviour of Jackie has just been so trifling. I can't imagine how pissed Marshall must have been in that moment. Because me, I would be boiling. So Marshall was pissed and he asked Jackie for the ring back. He asked for the ring back, and rightfully so, bitch. Like, give me my ring back, bitch. And this bitch Jackie says, no, I'm keeping it. How can this bitch said she's not giving the ring back. She said it's mine. The disrespect, the lack of decorum. I'm not gonna lie, low-key purr. Low-key iconic. But Jackie, like, you are really a raggedy ass bitch. Like, you don't even... But Jackie, you really have no shame. Like, you're really a raggedy ass bitch. Like, you cheated on this man. You're leaving this man. You've been a horrible fiance. And you won't even give the man his ring back. Like... Girl, you are so raggedy. Personally, I feel like she should have given the ring back. Like, her behaviour has been trifling, and on top of that, she's the one who called off the marriage. She should have gave the ring back. As slimy and grimy as it is, though, that Jackie kept the ring, what I will say is that Marshall didn't pay for the ring. Netflix paid for the ring. Netflix gave Marshall the ring. I feel like that's why she was like, you know what, I am going to be shameless and I'm not going to give you that ring back because Netflix paid for that ring, not you. But who knows with Jackie? Even if Marshall did pay for the ring, would she have returned it? I don't know with her because her behaviour is just very wild. And I feel like that's why Marshall didn't really argue when she refused to give the ring back. But yeah, Marshall didn't really argue it. He kind of just left really defeated. Like, and for me personally, now we'd have to tussle. He went down without a fight. I feel like he didn't really want to look crazy arguing about the ring. I feel like if he did argue like, no, give me back the ring, Jackie would have been like, no, Netflix paid for it, so no, I'm not going to give you back the ring. I feel like he suspected that would have happened, so he just thought, let me just leave it. Like, this bitch is a scallywag. Like, let me just leave her to her scallywag activities. Obviously, Marshall is just even more defeated than he was before. Jackie has broken up with him, left him for another man, and also refused to give him back the ring. He's talking about how she is deceitful. And yeah, Jackie, you are a deceitful little bitch. And that's why you need to leave at the first red flag so you're not being embarrassed like this. Honestly, Marshall's just really been scammed out here, especially out of that ring. He could have given that to somebody else. You know, he could have given that to his future fiance. He could have pawned it and got a pretty penny. I feel like he knows that Jackie is definitely going to pawn that ring. But yeah, that is the end of Jackie and Marshall. Like, the whole relationship. How fucking ghetto, like... I feel bad for Marshall, but I'm sorry, their whole relationship has been very entertaining. Probably the most entertaining part of this season. Jackie, I hope you change your ways. I hope you go to therapy and change your ways. But I'm going to say thank you for the drama. Completely unhinged. You men out there who are going just for looks, you need to be careful who you're proposing to out here, because the bandits are out here lurking, honey. Beware of the bandits. So then we move on to the bachelorette and bachelor parties. The men are at this burlesque show. They're being good boys. They're looking away. Boring. At the bachelorette party, we also see Kwame. And what is he doing at the bachelorette party? Complaining. When is he not complaining? This time he's complaining about the cost of living in Seattle. He says that the city is too expensive for what it is. And for me, it's just kind of like, I've had enough of Kwame. Like, he is such a turn off. Men complaining about money is just a massive turn off for me. Like, you guys need to make a support group and do your complaints there. I don't want to see it. And again, it's just another reason he's going to use to say no to Chelsea. At the bachelorette party, there is some drama with Mika and her friends. In the beginning of the episode, the friend Shelby, which is the best friend that, nobody's good enough for, is saying, oh, she likes Paul and she thinks that, they could work. But now she's drunk at the bachelorette party talking to Mika, talking about how she deserves better and Paul isn't good enough for her. This time, Mika does defend Paul, which I was surprised about because she didn't defend him last time. So maybe she does have some feelings for him. But this friend who barely knows Paul clearly has a problem with him. Like, I don't know what the problem is. She just doesn't like Paul. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. If my friend introduced me to Paul and said, I'm going to marry Paul, I'm not going to lie. I'd be like, girl, what you doing? What you doing? The friend is clearly a mean girl, but I feel like she's right on Paul. Like, Mika, what are you actually doing with Paul? What are you doing? You're wasting each other's time. Even though you really haven't seen any bad things with Mika and Paul, the thing that they have going on, they're not convincing me, they're not fooling me. Now we're on to the weddings. And the first wedding that we see, we don't see the end of it, but we see the majority of it. The first wedding is Chelsea and Kwame. Right off the bat, Chelsea is already making excuses for Kwame's behaviour throughout these episodes. She says that she feels for him because he hasn't got his mother's approval. And she also starts saying that, he might not be, as ready for marriage as she is. The whole rhetoric, oh, men are not as ready for marriage as quickly as women are. And I'm just kind of thinking, bitch, you're literally on a show for marriage. Like, clearly this man must be ready for marriage if he's on this show. Why do you keep making excuses for him? It's just very, ill at this point. Like, Chelsea, it's just very much ill, Chelsea. Have some more self-worth. It's just embarrassing at this point. The desperation is just embarrassing at this point. This man literally grew up in Ghana in a traditional Ghanaian Christian household, talking about, oh, he might not be as ready for marriage than me. Girl, come on. And when she's making all these excuses for Kwame, you can just see her friends are kind of just like, girl, do you even believe what you're saying? They're not buying it. I can tell that the friends are here to support Chelsea, but they're not sure on Kwame. At their wedding, we also see Kwame's siblings. They are very supportive of the wedding. And they also say that his dad is very supportive. It just seems to be his mother. So it's not even like it's a united front on the parents' side. He's got his brother's support. He's got his father's support. So the fact that he's hanging on to his mother's support thing, for me, is just very, very strange. Fair enough if the whole family was like, no, or both of your parents were saying, no, we don't approve. Fair enough. But the fact that the majority of your immediate family are in support of this marriage, and now you're using your mother's lack of approval as an excuse, to me was very strange. And I feel like it's rather insidious. Why even bring it up when you know that isn't the case? You just look very stupid out here, and you're very much ruining your brand for the next white woman you try and chase. You're ruining your brand, hun. Then the actual wedding ceremony begins. My predictions were that Chelsea was going to say yes, because when she was getting ready, she basically said she was going to say yes, and Kwame was going to be the one to say no. It's very clear that Kwame is not in love with Chelsea. The resentment has already set in. He doesn't want her. He doesn't want to get his money up to move to Seattle because Chelsea isn't his dream girl. I already knew that the no was coming. So they both give their vows. Both of their vows were very sweet, and it's just kind of like, I don't know why they let it get this. Why, Kwame? Why let it get this far? That speech was so cute. Her speech was so cute, and I know you're gonna get up there and tell this lady no. I know you're gonna say no. So it's just kind of like, why? Why put Chelsea through this? Why waste both of your times? Why? But anyway, it's now time to say I do's. Chelsea goes first. She says I do. And then we get to Kwame. Before he can say anything, it cuts out. We're going to find out in the next episode. And I was just like, oh, just tell us. We've already got what? How many weddings left? 2? How many couples are left? 3. We've got 3 weddings left. You could have just told us. We already know it's a no. I guess we're just going to have to see what Chelsea's reaction is going to be. Whether they continue dating after. Because we did have, SK and Raven date after their wedding. So I guess we'll have to see. But personally, I think Kwame is done with Chelsea. And Chelsea should be done with Kwame, in my opinion. But I guess we'll have to see the next episode. Um, we did see the trailer of the weddings, but none of them are very interesting. We've already kind of seen most of the stuff in that trailer and other trailers, so I don't really have much to say on the wedding trailer. But in terms of my predictions, if I'm not taking the spoilers that I have seen as the truth, Kwame is definitely going to say no. I feel like Brett and Tiffany, that's a solid yes from both of them. With Mika and Paul, it's mostly going to be a no. There is a small possibility that they could both say yes, but I feel like it will be a no. The no could come from both of them, but I think most likely the no will probably come from Mika. And then in terms of Bliss and Zach, I feel like they could be 50-50. I feel like Zach is most likely going to say yes, and the yes or the no will fall on Bliss. I feel like if Zach goes first and says yes, she probably will say yes. She's gone out of her way to justify this relationship. And honestly, I do think that they could have a successful marriage. One that could potentially end in divorce, but they could have a successful marriage. But for me, it doesn't really give love vibes. It gives very much circumstance vibes. You know, you want to get married, I want to get married. We're both doing good in life. We both have, similar interests. We have a friendship. So let's get married. That's kind of the vibe of their relationship. And for me, I'm not 100% against that. I don't think love alone is enough to sustain a marriage. And I do kind of feel like marriage kind of is like a business arrangement. So if it works well as kind of like a business arrangement, which is what Bliss and Zach relationship is kind of given, it works well as a business, and it could be a successful marriage. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Do you feel like there needs to be love in a marriage? Other factors are more important, or do you feel like there needs to be like an equal balance? Do you feel like loveless, or maybe not romantic love in a relationship? Because you can still love each other, but maybe not be romantic and be in a marriage? I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are in terms of does love, passion, romance need to be in a marriage for it to work? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. So for me, my predictions are pretty much like 50-50 on Bliss and Zach. Will we see Jackie and Josh in the next episode? Maybe. Will they work out? Probably not. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of this episode. Like I said, it was a bit juicier than the last batch of episodes. Like I said, Jackie, completely ridiculous. Poor Marshall, I hope he moves on and finds, a better partner. Jackie clearly was not that. Yeah, I'm excited to see the rest of the weddings. I want to see how Chelsea reacts. I feel like she has really been bottling up her emotions and letting things slide. I'd be really interested to see if and when, clearly when, we know Kwame's going to say no. When he says no, is Chelsea going to switch? I feel like she should switch. I feel like she definitely should cut him out. Like, I would be here for that. I don't think she is, though. I feel like she's just going to start crying and that's it. But I'd be here for it if she cusses him out. I'm interested to see Mika and Paul's wedding. If the outcome is no, what is the aftermath going to look like? That's going to be quite interesting. I'm always going to be here for drama. I am looking forward to Tiffany and Brett's wedding. I feel like that's going to be cute. But I'm not going to lie, I do want to see some drama in the next episode. The reunion is going to be live in like 2 weeks on a Sunday at like 1 a.m. UK time, which I think is a bit strange. What do you guys think about the live reunion? Are you here for it? Are you not? I mean, I'm not staying up till 1 a.m. to see this live reunion. So yeah, I feel like it was a bit extra. Like, I don't know why it needed to be live. But I do like how it is basically in real time. Filming the reunion later, like after the series have already been watched, the discourse and all of that stuff has been said. I feel like that's better. But I'm not sure if a live reunion is needed. I don't know if Vanessa and Nick can hack that. I feel like the editing helps them out a lot. But, I guess we'll see if it works or not. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this live reunion that they're doing. Yeah, that's pretty much it for my review. Do let me know what you thought about the couples. Do let me know what you thought about the events. Do let me know what you think about the individuals. As always, let me know what you thought about my commentary. I'll be back with my reaction for the next episode next week. In terms of what's next on my channel in terms of reality TV, I will be putting out the rest of my season 2 Love is Blind reactions, and I'm also going to continue putting out my Bachelor in Paradise season 7 reactions as well. And if you want me to review or react to any similar shows, you can always send me a direct request on Patreon. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you have, don't forget to turn the notification bell on so you know when my next video is dropping. I'm also trying to get to 4.6k subscribers. That's my next short-term goal, and I'd appreciate if you help me hit that. And thank you to everybody who's subscribed to my channel so far, and thank you to everybody who's taken the extra step to sign up to my Patreon. It really means a lot to me. Till next time, guys. Bye.